You went through the evaluation. You got diagnosed. You finally have a framework that explains decades of experiences you couldn't explain before. And then you tell the people closest to you, and one of them says, "But you've always been fine. You're smart. You just need to try harder." I don't think that's really what's going on. And something that felt like solid ground shifts underneath you. That experience, the diagnosis that gets dismissed by the people whose acknowledgement you wanted most, is one of the most quietly devastating things that happens to neurodivergent adults. And it's extremely common. Today, we're talking about it directly. Welcome to Wisdom from the Porch. I'm GP. This is Wisdom from the Porch. When a family member dismisses your neurodivergent diagnosis, the impulse is to take it personally, to read it as, they don't believe me. They think I'm making it up. They don't care enough to understand. Sometimes those things are true, but more often the resistance is coming from somewhere else entirely, and understanding where it comes from makes it less devastating. The first driver, your diagnosis threatens their narrative about their own parenting and sometimes about their own neurology. If you have ADHD that went unrecognized for 20 years, that means the adults responsible for recognizing it missed it. That's uncomfortable. It's easier to question the diagnosis than to sit with the discomfort of, we didn't see this, and that cost our child something. The resistance is not about you, it's about them managing their own guilt. The second driver, many families have one or more undiagnosed ND members. ADHD and autism spectrum traits are highly heritable. The parent who is most resistant to your diagnosis may be the one whose own unexamined patterns are most challenged by it. If your diagnosis is real, what does that say about them? The denial of your diagnosis can be a denial of their own, at a level they've never been asked to examine. The third driver, you seem fine to me, is almost always a comment on presentation, not on function. What they saw was the masked version, the version that worked incredibly hard to appear quote-unquote normal. They saw the results of the compensation strategies you built before you had any language for what you were compensating for. Appearing fine is not the same as being fine. They saw the performance. They didn't see what the performance cost you, and you probably didn't show them because showing them was not safe. None of these explanations excuse dismissal. They don't make it hurt less, but they reframe where the resistance is coming from. And that matters because the alternative is concluding that your own understanding of yourself is wrong because someone else is uncomfortable with it. So what do you do with that? First, decide what you actually need from them. There's a difference between wanting someone to understand your diagnosis and needing them to validate it for it to be real. Their belief is not what makes it true. The evaluation, the clinician, the decades of lived experience. Those are what make it true. What you want from family may be understanding, accommodation, or just acknowledgement that you're not making it up. Get clear on which of those you're looking for before you have the next conversation. Second, share information, not urgency. When we're desperate for someone to believe us, we often escalate. More evidence, more emotion, more arguments. The desperation reads as instability to the skeptic, which confirms their doubts. A lower pressure approach always works better. One article, one specific thing you want them to know. No argument, no agenda. I want to share this with you. You don't have to do anything with it. Plant the seed and leave it alone. Third, know when to stop explaining. There are people in your life who will come around eventually, and there are people who won't, for reasons that have nothing to do with the quality of your evidence. Continuing to seek validation from someone who's decided not to give it to you is a cost to your own stability that rarely produces the return you're looking for. At some point, the decision is, I know what I know about myself, and I don't need this specific person's confirmation for that to be true. That's not giving up. That's protecting yourself. Your diagnosis does not require a family vote to be valid. It doesn't become less real because someone who loves you is uncomfortable with it. The understanding you've built about yourself is yours. Other people's resistance to it says something about them. It says nothing about you. Your next one step? Identify which family member's disbelief hurts the most. Then ask yourself honestly, are you looking for understanding, validation, or both? That distinction will change how you approach the next conversation, if you choose to have one. If this helped even a little, you can follow the show, so these conversations are here when you need them. Thursday, we're talking about dating while neurodivergent, specifically the disclosure conversation that nobody teaches you how to have. And as always, thank you to Cloud Microphones for supporting these conversations. See you then. This has been Wisdom from the Porch. I'm GP. You're always welcome on the porch.